How are you guys doing today? This is going to be my short little review on my Mugen Mbx6 Eco. I've had this buggy for a couple months now, and I've been running it pretty hard. As you can tell, I do have my on-road tires on right now. Just set up a little course outside my house. Just wanted to test it out a little bit, see how heats were and all that. But let me take it and start by taking off the shell and tell you a little bit about my build. So right now, we are running a high-tech 7954 servo, and that's a Fly Sky 2.4 gigahertz receiver. Over to the motor, it's a Castle 2200 extra heatsink and a Castle little fan on there. The system runs cool. I just like having the added cooling benefits of it. Hobby Wing 150 amp ease run ESC. Right now the fan's off of it. That got broke at the track. Even without the fan, it only runs. I just ran 2 sets of 4S batteries, threw it back to back, and the ESC topped out at 130. The pinion I got on here right now is a 14 tooth pinion. The motor tops out at 140 after that 2 battery run. The battery's topped out at 120, so it's a very powerful setup. It's not pushing any of the electronics very hard. This thing really is a good car. I bought it used, bought it as a roller and completely tore it down, rebuilt it, but it's a great car. I bought it for about 200 bucks, 240 shipped from Canada, but a great car for the price. Let me go through some of the good and bad things. The first thing that's going to be hardest for a lot of people is the part support. My local hobby store, they don't have much for part support. They do carry a couple arms. They can't order the parts, but then it's about the same time and about the same money as me going ahead and ordering it from my own online hobby stores. It's a starting price. They're very expensive. If you buy them brand new, even as a roller, they're going to be upwards of $500. I know right now the MBX7s, the Ecos, just the roller is right around $549. So Mugen is a very expensive brand, but I believe you get what you pay for. I've broke 2 sets of A-arms on this thing, both front A-arms, and I experienced that they are very fragile A-arms unless you boil the arms. You boil them for 5 minutes in water, you let them cool off, and then you have some really indestructible arms. After you boil them, they're great. Next one, I'm going to have to show you a little bit, but the ESC it hangs off the back of the chassis. All I did to fix that was I took the ESC plate that was on there and connected to the battery tray, cut it off, mounted the ESC as close to the battery tray as I could. I cut off a little screw knob right there. I sanded down the chassis flat right there to where it curves up, and I mounted the ESC directly to it. After doing this, I actually noticed a lot of an improvement in handling since the weight is more forward. It's really centered now. It's as close to the drive shaft as I can possibly get it without making myself feel safe, But it's very centered. It's only hanging out about half an inch through the back, about half an inch on the side. So it's I fixed that problem. After that, it was pretty good. Another thing that can be kind of iffy for bashers, it's definitely going to be a bad point. For racers, it's a good racing thing, but it's the plastic spur. I mean, I've never had one strip out, but the spur is plastic. So if you're a basher, I know that's probably one of the first things you're going to want to fix. We have plastic braces. I would prefer aluminum or something a little bit stronger, a little bit more rigid, to protect my chassis from bending. All the other cars I've had aluminum chassis braces. I mean, that is a very short list of bad. The Mugen is a very good car. It's been good to me. Like I said, I've only broke 2 things on it. Let's go good. It's again, after you boil the A-arms, it's very durable. Again, I've only broke 2 A-arms on this thing, and other than that, it's been very, very durable. This thing is very quick on the track. It keeps up with everything on the track. Now, I'm no superstar driving, that's for sure. But I noticed that I keep up with some of the guys who have been on the track going longer, you know what I mean? So it's a very powerful car, very tough setup against the competitors, Another thing that's really good on this is it comes with threaded aluminum shocks, which is really good for quick tuning, for ride height, and etc. The carbon towers, the top plate and all that, that just goes into the quality factor. It's high quality, high strength. All the diffs and all the gears and stuff, they're very beefy and they just look like they're very tough. I've never had to rebuild a diff because the gears broke or anything like that. I've only had to rebuild them because it's time for a fluid change. Again, the CVDs all the way around, front and rear, it's really a good way to go on a racer. It's really good. The tunability on this thing is great. I mean, you got the pillow ball suspension up front, which is very adjustable. You got the shocks, great. So you can tune this thing. It's pretty much unlimited on how you can tune this thing. Another thing is the two-piece aluminum motor mount that aids in cooling. It aids in setting your gear mesh very easy. So those are the two benefits of it. This car is very heavy, which is not a downside to me. I personally feel like it is very planted on the track. It goes when you hit the throttle, it brakes when you want to brake. It absorbs the jumps. It's not going to just bounce around, you know. My friend has a slash 4x4 that he converted to a Pro 8. And that thing, it's very light. It's about half the weight of this thing. And on the track, even though they might be the same times, I prefer driving this thing on the track because it feels just like it's like I know where it's going instead of just the slash just hovering around. It's something that's very durable, again, where you can race and bash it, which is good. The power delivery thing on this thing is so smooth. It's very quiet as a car. Acceleration is just, you don't hardly hear anything, and that could be due partly to the plastic spur absorbing a lot of the noise and stuff like that, and just good gear meshing all around. I know on my friend's Arma Typhoon, it's very loud whenever he just really gets on the throttle. Now let's go to what I'm going to do to this thing in the future. I'd really like to get a lightweight aluminum spur gear just to add that durability factor. I'd like to get a new body. This body that came with the car when I bought it, it's pretty chewed up, as you might be able to see. I just want a new body. Probably a Proline Bulldog, the 2012 version. That's a good looking body and also is pretty durable. This wing is starting to show some wear, so I'd like to get a Proline trifecta wing. They're really popular at my track. A lot of people like them. They're durable. After that, I'd like to get a titanium screw kit. Some of the screws, whenever I got the car, were not perfect. They were kind of stripped out, starting to strip. And so I'd like to replace all of that with titanium or the RC Screws stainless steel kit. That's a little bit cheaper and more wallet friendly. After all that, I'd like to get an Avid Racing bearing kit. Their kit with the rubber on the one side and the just exposed on the other. It's really good for racing. You know, you get the protection of the rubber boot and you still get the low resistance from the exposed type bearing, you know what I mean? Great combo, great system. I'd recommend this to anybody who can get a hold of one. You know, right now they're going for about $200, $220 on eBay used as a roller. A good motor and a 150 amp ESC. Hobbywing has the 150 amp line. You know, they have the Ease Run, the XE Run, and they have the Quick Run setup too. This Castle motor is really good on here. Tekken 1900 or something like that. The Tacon 2150. That's a really good motor as well. I like the high-tech one myself. I've had that in a crawler and my 1/8 scale Mad Storm, and then it went over into this one. And I got to say, that's a great servo. I got the front and rear skid plates. We're gonna go on and do a little bash race compilation for you guys to see how the car handles, and I'll put that on right now.